Well, part 4 of our reaction to Chhaava. Thanks so much for coming back. I bet you guys are as excited as we are. I can't even speak, that's how excited I am. Anyway, part 4 of Chhaava. Once more for the last time, if you guys want to watch the whole thing with us without any cuts or interruptions, not broken up into parts, head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/cinejump or cinejump.com. You will need your own access to the film, which we are watching through Netflix, so you can open it up side by side with our reaction. We give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown sync, and it's like you're watching it with 2 of your favorite pals from the internet. Part 4, here we go. Oh, man.
Intimidating.
Give him a Band-Aid. He's gonna get an infection.
He's gonna break it, don't worry. Yeah, look at them looking back, afraid. What a shot.
I know, right? There's so many epic shots in this movie. Are you just gonna him? Is that the idea?
No, we got a monologue first.
हमें इस नज़ारे से लुत्फ अंदोज होने दो खान 9 साल से अपनी हर नमाज में इसके दीदार की दुआ मांगते रहे चंदू का मात्या रायगढ़ की सजी धजी महफिल ना सही लेकिन
Fight.
शहंशाह की खुशी को दुगनी करने के लिए
okay.
Some poetry.
छलका ही दीजिए
Let's see.
हाथी घोड़े तोप तलवारें
Way to come in clutch.
फौज तो तेरी सारी है पर जंजीर में जकड़ा राजा मेरा अब भी सब पे भारी है इसका कुत्तों को खिलाकर इस नस्ल को ही कर देना
Nah.
Cute.
इसी बहाने उन्हें थोड़ी वफादारी चखने को मिल जाएगी और उनकी आने वाली पुश्तों की जिंदगी संवर जाएगी
Ooh, the roast and burn.
Oh, God. What did
मजा नहीं आया
that feels?
Nah, I don't like it.
तुम्हारे जिस्म से तुम्हारी करने से पहले एक सवाल का जवाब चाहते हैं
He has such a calmness to him.
क्या है ये स्वराज जिसके लिए तुम अपनी देना चाहते हो
You'll never know.
अब कहाँ है तुम्हारा स्वराज सह्याद्री के पहाड़ों में गोदावरी की लहरों में नासिक की हवाओं में कोंकण के कोनों में आई भवानी के चरणों में लाखों मराठा के नस नस में है स्वराज जो स्वराज को तुम्हें चला है और अंग वो कोई सल्तनत नहीं है
People.
Yeah.
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की सोच है
He's a poet too, after all.
कुछ नहीं बदला कैद और शहंशाह के सामने फिर भी आंखों में वही आग
Learn from it.
हमने तो इन आंखों में अहंकार और सर पर एक ताज भी देखा था आज दोनों नजर नहीं आ रहे शहंशाह इसे इतना दो कि जब वो अपनी की भीख मांगे तब भी उसके मुंह से सिर्फ नहीं निकले
Oh, he's such a villain.
He resisted his habit of just people down.
Right?
Got that knife in his thing. It's like he was ready to do it.
तब ये तेरी मुगल सल्तनत
I gotta say, it takes some really strong acting skills to be held up like this and yet still command so much in your delivery that you're scaring the other person.
कहाँ ले जा रहे हो इन्हें रिहा कर रहे हो क्या
Oh, jeez.
It begins.
याद है हमने कहा था आपसे एक बार कि हम आपसे कविताओं की प्रतियोगिता करेंगे
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
मन के जीते जीत हैं मन के हारे हार गए जो बिन लड़े उन पर है धिक्कार जो देखे ना सपना सपनों का अधिकार असल अधिकार है अपना अपनों की खातिर करना कुछ आज हमें, अजर अमर कर देना है स्वराज हमें। तू माटी का लाल है, कोई कंकड़ या धूल नहीं। तू समय बदल के रख देगा, इतिहास लिखेगा भूल नहीं। तू भोर का पहला तारा है, परिवर्तन का एक नारा है। अंधकार कुछ पल का है, फिर सब कुछ तुम्हारा है।
Damn.
जा रहे हैं आपके शत्रुओं के चोट पर लगने।
Damn.
हमने कहा था हम नमक है महाराज, तुम नमक नहीं चंदन हो कभी। तुम तिलक हमारे माथे का। कविताएं खत्म हुई राजे, अंत में जीत आपकी हुई। तुम नमक नहीं चंदन हो कवि, तुम तिलक हमारे माथे का।
Damn. That was powerful.
What an exit.
That was so powerful.
Whew.
खींच लो सारे इसकी उंगलियों से।
That was something, man.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Who would have thought that when they finally have their little, poetry off, it would be as they're walking away from each other right before his buddy's about to go.
Can't do it. Yeah. That grip.
He's chained up and yet dude's ready with his sword.
Go ahead.
She's like, am I horrified? Am I turned on? I don't know.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Smack. Gouge it.
Ah, no. Yucky ducky. Yuck.
Oh, she knows.
Oh, that sucks.
What did she have to do?
Getting yanked around, losing his friend, I can deal with all that. Getting nails pulled from his head, that's where I draw the line. It's just too much. Ah, God.
Yeah.
They want to see him cry out.
True kings don't beg.
श्री सखी जी, आप कब से हमारी चिंता करने लगी?
Oh, interesting.
आपको हम पर शंका है ना? हमारी वीरता पर संदेह है।
हमें विश्वास ही नहीं, गुरूर भी है अपनी इस पहाड़ी तूफान पर।
जैसे माँ पार्वती के बगैर शिव शंभू अधूरे हैं, उसी तरह यीशु के बगैर ये शंभू।
तभी तो ये सखी हमेशा अपने श्री के मन में रहती है।
Man. So he's not allowed to put that back on until Sambhaji, right? That's the idea?
I guess, yeah. Oh.
Oh, no.
Talk about salt.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Talk about salt in the... Like, for reals. They had... It wasn't just a little. It was like a lot of salt.
The coarsest they could find.
The coarsest they could find as well. For reals.
Straight from the lake. Oh. Yeah, no cries.
It's so unsatisfying for them to not see him cry out in pain. To just be so calm.
खड़ा है, पर चीखे तो क्या?
Tell me they're gonna storm the area to get his family.
Okay.
Nah.
Oh. What? Take out his... Is that what he's thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
God.
Somebody make it stop.
अपनी आंखें तो बंद कर लीजिए जनाब।
No respect.
देख क्या रहा है? निकाल।
Look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
अब
Bro, you are in presence of a god. Just give up.
जब हम आई साहब को मिलेंगे तो उन्हें पहचानेंगे कैसे? हमें तो उनकी सूरत तक याद नहीं।
उन्हें तो याद है शंभू।
Oh man.
आप अंधेरे में भी उन्हें बुलाएंगे तो वो आपकी आवाज से ही आपको पहचान लेंगे।
That must be frustrating.
Just give it up.
Like, God damn it, just make a noise.
हमारी मराठों के हर घर एक नया सिवा एक नया संभव पैदा करेगी।
right.
True.
He's a
तब ये तेरी मुगल सल्तनत भी
Feel the truth.
हमारी बंजर जमीन पर ऐसे फूल क्यों नहीं खिलते?
Oh, what a line.
Look at that.
Symbolic. They just gonna leave him?
They're like, yo, we need a break.
Are they gonna go grab his family?
हमसे हाथ मिला लो,
What?
मुगलों की तरफ आ जाओ,
What a joke.
जिंदगी बदल जाएगी।
You blinded him.
Yeah, I think he's
बस
done.
तुम्हें अपना धर्म बदलना होगा।
Yeah.
Wow. Is that all?
हमसे हाथ मिला लो,
Ha.
मराठों की तरफ आ जाओ।
I mean,
Ha.
seriously, dude. Look at the strength of this
जिंदगी
guy.
बदल जाएगी और धर्म भी बदलना नहीं पड़ेगा।
Look at that.
That's a pretty good deal.
Look at that.
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज को शेर कहते हैं औरंग और शेर के बच्चे को छावा।
What'd I say? Chhaava!
The fact that he can still talk is remarkable. Because he's so parched.
Yep. Look at her.
इसकी ज़बान इसकी हलक कर दो।
You think that will silence him?
He's getting older while waiting for him to... There, have it.
Is that what you wanted?
Ugh. Ugh. They make it sound so nasty.
Gosh. Oh, they just tore it out.
Ah!
Not
No!
even. I thought they were gonna slice it.
No Novocaine or anything? They didn't cauterize the wound? They just yanked it out?
Now he'll soon.
प्रौढ़ प्रताप पुरंदर क्षत्रिय कुलावतंस महाराजाधिराज छत्रपति रामराजे महाराज की।
Oh, Mom got her wish.
संभव अपनी माँ का जश्न मनाकर गया और हमें छोड़ गया अपनी जिंदगी का मनाने।
You won, but at what cost?
रायगढ़ से खबर आई है, मराठों का छत्रपति अब भी जिंदा है।
Feeling tired now?
मुस्तफा, आलमगीर,
Oh. Why him?
No one's safe around him.
काश हमारी एक औलाद संभा जैसी होती।
Oof. Came back.
एक औलाद मुस्तफा,
Came back.
हिंदुस्तान क्या?
दुनिया मेरी होती।
Why would you stay on this guy's side? I just don't get it.
Pure fear.
Did he actually... God dang. That's a lot of blood.
आई साहब,
जी शंभू,
Oh.
Finally met his mom.
Damn. Bruh.
Wow. Vicky.
Well, here's what I'll start with. Vicky Kaushal is remarkable.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched him in Raman Raghav 2.0, like, for some reason, I've only seen the film once, but for some reason I wasn't as inspired by him, but paying attention to him over the years, like, something switched. I think it might have been with Yudi, or I forget which film of his that I might have seen, but I realized he is so much more remarkable than I realized, and he instantly shot to the top as one of my favorite actors from India. It's just like, dang, every time I watch him, I believe him in that role. Whatever he's doing, I buy into it with full authenticity. He just seems so genuinely whoever that person is.
Yeah.
And as the role of this king, of this leader of the Marathi people, I just was like, I buy this dude. Like, I fully buy him as this guy. And as, you know, the film is, like, you're asking certain questions, like, how is he still alive? How is he? That's a lot of blood, blah, blah, blah. It's like, obviously, it's like, it's a little bit surreal. It's going above reality a little, you know.
Legendary.
It's legendary. It's an epic. And so there are certain things that I'm assuming certain artistic liberties were taken to really drive home just like this legendary feeling, you know, the epicness of it all. I don't know how much of it is historically accurate and how, you know, to what actually happened, and how much of it were artistic liberties that were taken. I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments who are going to be like, no, all of it true.
Obviously, this was written.
Yeah, like, but I have no idea. So I'm coming from my own Western perspective and sensibilities, and just this is the only frame of reference I have.
I'm assuming that huge, long thing that we could not even begin to read in time at the beginning probably answers that.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was a huge, long, and I think that's smart because they know their audience and they know how true to people's beliefs that, like, they can be. So I'm sure that was very thorough, and it's like, this is what we did.
Yeah.
This is what we took. We understand this and that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I'm definitely going to go back and read it.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, movies are always, you know, our interpretation
historical
on both
epics.
sides.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So it says the film Chhaava is based on the novel of the same name by Shivaji Sawan and inspired by the life and legacy of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. While every effort has been made to ensure historical accuracy, the film is presented in a non-linear format. It is expected that certain aspects of the film may be interpreted artistically, dramatized, or fictionalized for cinematic and narrative purposes. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Like, there's basically a lot of that.
It's just like, we get it. We know this is an art project, you know, like, just take it, which everyone should approach a movie that way. You know, it's art. But
even with consideration to artistic liberties, I thought that Vicky Kaushal just did a phenomenal job. You know, like, he was
so subtle.
He embodied the strength, the determination, and the empathy. You know, the humanity of this character. That's the tricky thing with films like this, especially when you have a leader of a group of people that are just like so fierce. Sometimes you get so entrenched in that you forget to have a human being there. And I think they did a great job of having that aspect to it, and him, like, Vicky Kaushal was perfect for this. I thought he did a great job.
I agree. Sorry, one second.
Yeah, it's all good.
Especially with, I love that they never, even though he was clearly legendary and rare.
Yeah.
He was he was able to pull out something out of everyone. He knew how to get a rise out of everyone, even in an intimate situation like with him and his wife. He knew exactly what to say to kind of bring out the best in people, I feel like. Even with the lady who was plotting to get her son on the throne, you know, he even though they didn't really have a face-to-face moment, technically, I feel like he brought out the best in her. Even though she was doing nefarious things and plotting away, he was like, I see the mother actions. I see you, you know? And that can only inspire love and respect. And we saw that when he finally approached a Mughal emperor, and the soldiers, they're like, who are you? Wow. Like, if only we had one of you, like, imagine how far we could go, you know?
Right.
It's intense. He was able to do that in such a way where he was approachable, and it wasn't like he was untouchable in that way. You could always approach him. You could always rely on him. You could always ask him. You could always have the gall to ask something of him, even though he was this greatness, lion ripping, like monster beast, right?
Yeah.
Incredible. He's very incredible. And one of my favorite things, I love this movie all around, but one of my favorite things was their use of weaponry that we don't get to see often. I feel like they were very creative with their choreography and their fight sequences. That we handled some really heavy, intricate, difficult stuff in the fight scenes. And I feel like it's really hard to make it interesting and epic movies. You know, we've seen a lot and we're really spoiled with, you know, CG and seeing incredible things done. But this, I feel like, took it to an even higher level with their creativity and their use of weapons. So I'm really like, and that with the music.
Yeah.
Each scene was like its own little epic moment.
With regards to the action, you're right. Like the scale of it is insane, and it feels like something that you might read in some kind of. Forgive me for like, I'm just trying to find the best way to express this, okay? But it feels like something you would read in some sort of like Indian religious text of just like an epic battle of some kind.
You saw that with the weapons.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
For my reference, it feels biblical, like the scale of it. And so I really admire the challenge they took on here, and I thought they did a great job of making it feel like that level of scale.
Yeah.
And with the sweeping shots, the sheer volume of people, especially that first battle that we saw with the surprise attack, like that might have been my favorite one.
Yeah.
So I did have some gripes with certain things, which I can dive into a little bit later. But like, I just want to give it its flowers first. Like it did such a great job between, you know, the costumes and, like you said, the music, the way it's shot and edited for the most part. Like it brought me into this world and I felt like really engrossed in it. And I was definitely rooting for Samba, for Vicky Kaushal and like the Marathis. Like they did a great job of really helping us to see, okay, so this is the guys that, like, just from an objective perspective of having no actual dog in this fight, right? Like just being an outsider watching it, and I'm not Indian. I'm watching it as Jaby Kaushal. and so from that perspective, it's like they did a great job of showing me, here's your good guys, here's your bad guys, and like you really got a sense of like this guy's like. Vicky Kaushal's a great dude, and here you have an evil dude, and even though he's evil, it's like very easy to just be evil blanket. That's it, like two-dimensional. But there was something to him that had like layers, and I really appreciated that aspect. Played by Akshaye Khanna, who I've watched I think two other times. I've watched him in Dil Chahta Hai and something else I can't remember. Mom, I believe, with Nawazuddin Siddiqui and a famous actress who passed away. I can't remember her name, but she's a super famous actress. Sridevi, sorry. I couldn't remember her name right now. Sridevi.
Only the Sridevi.
Yeah. But yeah, like I saw him in that. I don't honestly remember him all that well in that movie. I remember him more in Dil Chahta Hai. But he did such a great job of immersing himself in that role. Like equally, you know, opposite of Vicky Kaushal, I totally believed him as that guy, as the emperor, as the Mughal emperor, who was like just evil and just wanted nothing but to like take this dude down. And he wanted to see him suffer, and he never quite got his way. And he had this very quiet intensity to him, this scariness, this calmness and stillness to him that I don't see that often in Indian cinema when it comes to villains. I'm used to seeing something much bigger.
Yeah, like sinister.
Yeah, just something a lot, I guess, louder. Whereas he had a stillness to him, and thankfully our director, whose
Laxman. Yes.
He allowed the actors to act, and that's, you know, Laxman, Utekar. Like, while there are things that maybe I disagreed with in certain choices, and I don't know how much of that is in his control, I loved the fact that he decided to allow the actors to just act. Like, put the camera on them and let them do their thing, let them have their moments. Especially Akshaye Khanna, who he just had like that intensity to him that I just marveled at. I was watching him like, this guy's really scary, and I totally buy him as this dude.
It's very sociopath esque. Because I mean, what does it take for you to kill your own brothers, your sons, everyone around you who is supposed to mean something to you? What does it take to do the horrible things that it takes to for the enemy? You know, like the way that he just really cruelly tortured and killed all those villages and all they just sweeping through, and he's sitting there eating grapes. Like, props to him for really going there and being like, yeah, you know what? Only a sociopath could do that that calmly, you know?
Yeah.
But I love that he showed the respect for a great warrior, because he kept saying that about his father, you know, like he was like, I really wanted, it was like I wanted to meet him, you know, like now I'm just going to not have any peace because I don't get to see that great man himself. So now I'll just deal with his son. And even seeing all that he put him through, he was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I get it. So what is great about Laxman is I know him through much calmer movies. I've only seen his like more romantic, more like dramatic. So you're completely right about letting the actors play and do their job. I think he knows that if you have great people, you can just let go and let them do their thing. Yeah. Because the other movies I saw, wow, like you could tell that some actors, they're going into uncharted territory, but they got to be artists, you know?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. Even if it wasn't their most moving performance or their greatest moments, it was like they got to experience and explore. So I think you totally nailed that on the head right there. So what range he has, because how do you go from like Dear Zindagi to like this, you know, and to make it just as epic and just like continue to get a rise out of everyone's hearts like that. I'm so impressed. And Mimi, Luca Chupi, which was funny to me. Like,
This is my first experience with him.
Oh.
And it seems that he's
Wildly
worked with Vicky Kaushal before in Zara, Hatke, Zara, Bachke.
Bachke,
And it's interesting, like just kind of at a cursory glance, seeing the development, because this is his first epic from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And it's his
We're
first
talking like small indie
it's definitely
feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely his biggest movie to date. It's interesting that he worked with Vicky Kaushal, presumably in a completely different kind of movie, and then to work with him again in this, like that's
how fun.
It's just interesting to watch from the outside. Like, how'd that go? Like, that's you guys must have developed a really strong working relationship to decide to take on this challenge together. That's pretty cool.
It's like an actor's dream.
Yeah,
to have that.
Well, you know, if they're making magic together, hopefully they just keep working together, and then they can be like Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro, or Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, you know,
and Kugler and
like Kugler,
Michael B.
Jordan, It's like they obviously have some kind of magic together, and it's like it worked really well here.
Yeah.
The thing that concerned me with this movie is that it's the same thing. I was resisting mentioning this title the entire time.
What, 300?
300. And it's not because things looked like 300. It's the 300 effect, I'll call it, because you know, when I watch 300, what my issue with the film, because people think because I've mentioned it so many times that I love the movie. I actually don't like that movie all that much.
God, I love that movie.
It's like, I like it okay. And I own it just because from a study perspective, like I need to understand this movie better because it was a landmark moment in American cinema.
Sure was.
And I just
global.
Globally, clearly globally as well. My issue with the film was that I just had a disconnect with the characters where I didn't really feel connected to them as human beings. It was more like I was, you know, like some movies you feel invested, like you feel immersed in it, whereas I felt more like I'm looking at this through a window and I'm seeing someone else. You know what I mean?
Because it's like straight from a graphic novel.
Sure.
And so like, I think that was the point. I'm not sure.
The graphic novel wasn't much to go off of, honestly. I read it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the movie
But
gives
I
you
think-
more material than the graphic novel does.
Yeah.
So my issue with 300 is that, where I just didn't feel like I had a connection with them as human beings. And that is number one. Number two is there were consecutive moments of them just obliterating Persian soldiers. And I'm just like, are these guys not putting up a fight at all? Like, why am I watching this for 90 minutes plus, like, then just like literally just destroying people until the last fight?
Because it was gorgeous.
But it's just like after a while, I just got tired of that, right?
Oh, no,
and
not
so,
at all.
Well, that was my
It was-
experience.
Yeah.
And so,
Which
yeah, like,
I validate.
and
But
so
it was creative, no?
it was creative, but
All the
like,
ways they were
it's just,
dying?
it just got a lot. And so what happened here was in the middle of the film, I'd say for, I don't know how long, at a certain point, I was like, okay, I can see that you're like destroying them. And it was like consecutively that. It was a 300 effect of like, they are putting up no fight. And it doesn't even look like they're, our guys, the Marathis, are taking a loss. Like they're just wiping them out.
Yeah, they didn't.
From one battle to the next battle to the next battle to jumping out of the ground to jumping out of the water. I'm like, okay, I get it. You guys are like crazy sick with it. And so it wasn't until they got a surprise attack. And so I enjoyed that too. In theory, I enjoy that. It's just like after a while, I'm like, okay, I need something different because it just feels like the same beat playing over and over again.
I think what would have helped, and it would have made the movie just probably a little too long, was because they mentioned it in the beginning of how we don't have the numbers. We really have to be strategic about it. That's how we're going to win.
I like that.
I think I know we got to see the montages of them like taking them in different terrains, but if we got a little more of that, like seeing the cleverness or the wit behind it all.
The build-up,
maybe that would have helped that because I do see how that could be. I think it worked out for me personally because I got to feel exhausted. I got to get the feeling of, okay, this has been going on 9 years. Yeah, I feel tired. Who's going to let up? Who's going to start slipping? Because it's a long battle. You know what I mean? And they're just nothing is working. And our resources are dwindling. So what's going on? Obviously, we took a loss here too on the Marathi side, but they're holding their own. So, and we know this to happen even in current day where people are able to like beat the numbers just from sheer knowledge of their region alone.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed that aspect.
Exactly.
Of it. Yeah.
Like getting to see a little more of that, I think would have helped that. But we just needed to feel tired, I think. And like, okay, it's time to end.
When the Mughals were regrouping and they're like, yo, he took out half our army. Like, seeing that consequence after watching the montage was cool, and it made it more worth it. I think that what made it feel also exhausting was that at a certain point, it felt like the editor was getting a little tired.
Like,
it was
how many
just
more bodies?
It's just like, okay, we're just going to speed through
more
this
blood.
fight. Like, I started to have a disconnect where Vicky Kaushal would pick up a weapon, and then suddenly the guy was stabbed, and it's like, we didn't even see the action of him throwing. And it was like that on repeat a lot, and I could hear guitar, like rock music going on in the background. Like, not that the music was an issue. It's like the music was fine. It did take me out a little bit though. The rock music,
300-esque.
Yes, but like the thing with 300 is that is even more of like this is a surreal epic a fantasy, whereas this is meant to be more. Even though it has fantastical elements, it's supposed to be more historical. And so when you're bringing in the rock music, it throws me a little bit because I'm like, you have this great like drum. I don't know if it's like traditional Marathi music, but it's like, it feels like warrior music where I'm going to turn that bitch on and I'm going to go walk straight into the gym and start like, like, it's like, it gets me invigorated. It gets me like pumped where I want to move. And I think that's by design. It's supposed to make you feel that way. It's supposed to make you feel like a warrior when you're watching it and feel engrossed. And then the rock music is like, well, that's from today. That's not ageless.
Yeah.
Presumably the Marathi music has evolved over time as well. But like, there's something that feels timeless in that music. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking about the whole soundtrack as a choice and as a movement and what they're thinking and how they're plotting it. I think they should have brought a little more of the dissonance that we heard every time we saw the bad guys, like the harp sounds and the kind of like just the dissonance, how things were just uncomfortable and not settled and just moving, but not in a good way. Like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
If they brought a little more of that during those moments instead, I mean, I love it. I never get tired of the rock and
I like rock music as much as the next person. It's just
but like in the epics, I'm like, because that makes me feel connected, instead of just like, oh, this is, a great story of a time past, it brings me more of the like, here I am, I'm there with you. But they should have brought a little more of that in, I think, because we didn't get enough of that. That was new for me and it was exciting. So I would have liked a little more of that, not just at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, the combination of sounds is like Hans Zimmer, I suppose.
Yeah.
He uses rock music in the Dune soundtrack, which is in a similar-ish terrain. You know, it's bringing in all kinds of worldly vocals, and so to have rock music isn't like that's the least offensive thing for me, honestly. Like it's just something I noticed.
Get it.
The bigger thing for me was the twofold, which I already mentioned. It's just that like at a certain point in the middle of the movie, I was just like, okay, I'm seeing you guys kick. Like I get it, you guys are like wicked, and I think that what you said, if we saw a little bit more of the strategic buildup. And like the like as a battle was about to unfold, as opposed to battle happening like over and over again, surprise, like over and over again from the same perspective as the enemy, like that would have helped me a lot. And furthermore, the fight scene, like some of it just started to feel like very truncated to the point that I was just disconnected, and all I'm just seeing is a montage of carnage now.
Yeah.
As opposed to...
Which is how it is.
Yeah, I suppose. But like I for me personally, when a fight scene is happening or any kind of sequence of fights, like I need to feel the movement, you know, and I have to feel all of those steps. Otherwise, like what's happening. Though, on the contrary, like whenever you had a wide, they did a really good job of making it feel like it was always alive.
Yeah.
There wasn't a moment of like
stillness anywhere.
Those guys look like they're practicing. Like it all felt very kinetic.
Yeah.
And in fact, there was maybe only 2 moments that stood out to me as I feel like I'm watching actors. One was the guy who betrayed his father. The Mughal guy when he was fighting in the tent. I was like, okay, look, you don't look as practiced.
Right.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
But he just didn't look as practiced in the fighting. And then during the last battle, when I think it was Vicky Kaushal or they were just trying to push a bunch of Mughals out the door. I could see one guy who was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to like get in here, like, oh, I'm getting pushed out too." I'm like, you clearly weren't in the middle of all that, but that was it. Those are the 2 moments that stood out to me. But outside of that, it constantly felt kinetic, and so applause to that because like that's to me is really challenging.
Yeah, this whole movie looked very challenging, and they delivered. I think this is really a triumph. I would be so proud if I had even like a tiny little fingernail stuck in it. This was such a great movie, I think. My only quip, or not even quip, but curiosity moment is I would love to see a little more of the, because it's clear that he brought so many enemies over to his side. He was like, not only did he let them live, but he was generous with them and like kept them in his circle, I feel like. And I would have liked to see them have like, that moment where they're like, oh, this is my king. Like I kind of accept it. I see why you're great now. We just see them grown up. We see them thriving, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would have loved to have just seen a little more effect other than okay, we see that you're doing fine and you're on this side now. That's cool. You don't fear the guy, which is like, we get it. But yeah, I would have loved, just on the dramatic side, I would have loved to see a little bit of that. But I love this. I loved everyone's performance.
I really appreciated them making sure to include the aspects of betrayal from within. Because it's like, that's also a big component in kingdoms falling apart. Is just like the inner turmoil because of beef.
Greed.
Greed. Whatever it is. It's just like, it's moments where the characters or the people involved they can't see the forest from the trees, and they can't see how this is breaking the unity that you guys have, and it's going to just cripple the empire ultimately, or your position there. It's like, you're just going to mess yourself up, dude.
What sucks is even if he gave them what they wanted, they would have just kept being greedy and hungry and done like really corrupt shit, I think. So there's no winning there.
Yeah.
What do you do? That
was an interesting aspect of his character. It seemed like he was very trusting, because at one point they came back, they're like, we're cool, right? We're good. Like, that's all squashed.
Like, yeah, we're fam.
And then Samba is like, yeah, we're good, man. I mean, I trust you with my kids. It's like, really? You trust them with your kids? And he had reason to, and like he was trying to, I guess, well, to me, he was trying to give for lack of better phrasing, he was trying to give the love he wanted, right? So he was taking that first step and giving that love. But they were nefarious, and so sometimes it's just how it is. But like, it was definitely inspiring how strong he held up to the very, very end.
Yeah,
it's like it just kind of, it brings me back to other films like Braveheart and I suppose even
Gladiator,
RRR, because in RRR you had the sequence where it was all tied up as well. Like, how often do we see that?
It hurts every time.
Yeah.
One last thing, I also really appreciated the little kid flashbacks and how he was just dealing with that his whole life. I think the messaging was really strong in this. Obviously, like, let's try to get close to utopia as possible and like allow people to believe what they want and like peace and love. But also the like, no matter who you are, what you have, you're still going to be dealing with your inner fears as a little child and what you had to deal with. So be aware of that, you know, like how does that narrate your life and how you live it and like what's your intention behind it all. So we got to see Samba do good with it and kind of like chase that even though he didn't know his mother's face and he was fearing so much, could never be comfortable because, you know, people were always behind him, you know, like trying to get at him, but he still moved forward. And I thought that was really powerful messaging and really something to pay attention to. So I really appreciated that they had those sequences.
How did you feel about Rashmika Mandanna and Diana Penty? Because those are our two.
Diana Penty.
Those
is
are our
the,
two female leads.
The Mughal queen.
Yeah. Well, the Mughal lady who like cut out his tongue.
Yeah. I assume that was his queen or his daughter. I mean, I don't know.
Well, she said something pretty awful. So.
Yeah. I think Rashmika was. What did I see her in? First of all, I see that
she's in Bloody Daddy.
Diana was in Cocktail, which I loved.
I haven't seen Cocktail.
It was great. I think they did a great job. I love that they had a very Rashmika had a very like Layla Majnun moment with him, whereas like whenever he felt pain, she would know, and she would like just hold strong and pray for him and just like.
I've seen her before, actually. I've watched her in Happy Bagjayagi and Parmanu. I watched her in Happy Bagjayagi and Parmanu, The Story of Pokhran. I don't think I saw this one. Did I see this one? I can't remember if I saw this one.
Sounds familiar. Did we watch it?
Maybe I. I think I was supposed to watch it because it's Jimmy Shergill. I think I was supposed to watch it, and I didn't get around to it.
Okay.
I saw the first one, but not that one. But anyway, I've seen her before. I just can't recall her. This is the first instance where I'm like, oh, okay, like she's in my mind now. Like
you see her
it's more
all the time.
She's more emphasized. And Rashmika Mandanna.
What was she? I know. Oh, was it? I don't want to say it.
For some reason, this is not. IMDb is just like.
Sita Ramam. I knew it. She was amazing in that. She was the love.
Oh, she's in Pushpa.
And Pushpa. Yeah. She's always like so strong but gentle, and you just feel safe around her.
Yeah. She embodies what you just said is actually spot on.
Yeah.
Strong and gentle at the same time. That perfectly describe. I mean, I can't speak to her other performances in other films in that nature, but like here certainly, like I definitely those two elements.
Like she won't let you sit there and whine and be comfortable, but she'll like hold your hand and like pull you up and take you through what you need to take, like what you need to go through. I think she always delivers that so easily.
I can't remember what I felt about her performance in Pushpa. Or Pushpa 2 for that matter. It's been a minute, so I'm not even going to try to recall.
She was like, a hard ass, and he had to win her over. But once they were together, she was like, go get him, tiger, kind of like very just strong.
Wasn't it the whole thing in Pushpa? Like he was doing all of this just for her, kind of thing, and she's like, really? Like,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
But she liked it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I love her. I love them both.
I'd say this is probably a better role for her.
I wanted more. I wanted to see her more.
I agree with you. It was a very limited capacity, but the movie wasn't about her.
Exactly.
Yeah. It wasn't her story necessarily.
She did her part.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Oh, she was also an animal. It's one of those funny darndest things where like I've seen her a bunch, but I can't always remember her performance.
Really?
Because oftentimes I feel like she's getting cast in these roles where she's more of just like the supporting female. You know what I mean? It's not like what's her name? Who's the lady who started a bunch of controversy? But she's like a really strong female actress. Supposedly she was dating Hrithik at one point. I can't remember her name right now. She's someone I was supposed to interview, but I didn't get to. Kangana Ranaut. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, it might even be this movie right here.
Queen of Johnson.
Yeah. So Kangana Ranaut, like when she takes on a role, like she's very clearly, it's like more about her, and she's often a strong character, at least in my recollection. Like that's something that I will remember if I'm watching a movie that is about her. Whereas for Rashmika Mandanna, like I watch her, and she is often doing a great job of being at the service of the story.
Yes.
But like this is the closest I've come to seeing her in this capacity that I can like recall, where she's like what you
leveling
described.
up a little more.
Yeah. I do wish she was given more to do, but like what can you do? It's like, okay, this is your source material. How much can you really give her beyond the scope of what she was able to do here?
When he told his guy to give the message to her, I thought something was going to happen, but then nothing kind of really happened. She just prayed for him, and she knew that he was caught, but I thought that was going to unleash some sort of plan they had planned, or like I thought they were going to do something other than throning the other guy, right?
I agree. Here's where I was confused, and I'm going to be just very transparent. So they were planning this attack against the Mughals, right? And I thought, and I must have misunderstood something, but I thought most of his army went away somewhere, right? And then while the army was away, that's when the Mughals attacked, in the dead of night. Right, because they were going to attack in the dead of night, and their soldiers went out, but then the Mughals attacked first.
Right, because they got betrayed.
Yes. So, did I misunderstand? With the Mughals, with the Marathis, they never actually left?
I guess that section didn't then.
That section didn't.
Because they were supposed to go attack, but then they ended up just attacking themselves. Like they were in the forest already, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole point, because when the son and the father were having that conversation, they're like, oh, like that's the plan. Mm-hmm. But then
they never actually left.
No, the son was like, wait, did they say to leave already? Because here they come.
Okay. So I guess like you, I wondered, is there going to be another element to this where they're going to send their people out to go and try to rescue him, and no effort was made at all.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit strange to me, but I don't know the politics around it.
Right.
You're right. Like maybe we could have used a scene where she's like trying to effort that, and it just never happens.
Right. Or it failed. That would have been fine too and understandable.
Like not even an attempt was made, and that did seem a little bit odd, given it's like that's your king. But yeah, I really appreciated. The last thing I'll say is I really appreciated the scene, the last poetry moment.
Oh my God.
That was pretty powerful.
That was so strong.
Yeah. Like he really cared about his people, which is, I really like that. I think it's cool. It just is like in contrast with that first scene in the tent where he puts the sword to the side, and like he's taking out all these Mughal warriors who are protecting the son of the Mughal emperor, and I'm just like, yo, like these are your dudes, and you're just like disposing of them.
This.
Like you really don't he doesn't care about his guys, whereas Vicky Kaushal or Samba really cares about his men.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. So
Epic.
Overall, like definitely a cool epic film, and I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it with us. Thanks so much for hanging out. I am Jaby Kuwait. This is
Vivian Day.
Peace out.